Hello there gorgeous gamers and welcome back to Pure Play TV, and we have our review for Dying Light 2, Stay Human, Techland's grisly take on a post-apocalyptic future. It's not the first ever, obviously, but is it better than the original? Is it worth investing in some adult nappies, or diapers for you Americans, for those nighttime runs? Or should you go back to role-playing as Rick Grimes in Left 4 Dead 2? There's a mod for that. Watch on and find out. Something that struck me early on in the game was that humanity is truly gone. As I mentioned in my early impressions video, there was something a little bit tender about Dying Light 2 as it opened with our hero Aiden stumbling upon a house full of dead partygoers who seemingly poisoned themselves to death in an end of the world party. And then there was Aiden's motivation, his little sister missing for years after he and her were experimented on at a GRE hospital. And then Dylan, the selfless informant who willingly sacrificed himself so that Aiden could escape the clutches of the big bad guy, Waltz. These human touches in the first couple of hours had me hooked, and I quickly dismissed my fear of playing zombie games at night on my own. I ploughed through and, a couple dozen hours later, I'm a touch disappointed. Not with the gameplay, but the bait and switch with the game's narrative. It's not that the story being told is poor, it's just that it suffers as all open world RPGs do. There's just so much to do. It became easy for me to forget that Aiden had crossed thousands of miles of wasteland in his search for his sister when I was hopping from rooftops doing odd jobs for characters that I can't remember. Every now and then, it felt like the story pulled me by the scruff of my neck and pushed me back onto Aiden's path. Helpful, yes, but jarring. Choice is a big part of Dying Light 2, and your choices direct the story, or at least that's what I think is supposed to happen. Being the massive time sink of a game that it is, I haven't gotten around to going back through it a second time and making different choices to see how they play out, but I can imagine how certain scenarios would change, and ultimately, I'm quite happy with the decisions I made. Mostly. Some dickheads deserve to die, but I let them live. Some promises were broken when I probably should have kept them. I actually ended up feeling quite bad at times, but on the other hand, I often got a small sense of pride. A little, go me, I'm still a good human. And that's what the choices are there for. Are you retaining your humanity? Aiden has his own struggles with staying human. In fact, everybody does. Everybody is infected, but it's managed, and so long as you're dosed up on meds or within the reach of a UV lamp, you won't turn into a grisly monster. But your actions may make you a monster in the eyes of others. The Stay Human tagline is twofold in that sense. If you played the original Dying Light, you should know what to expect from the gameplay. Lots of running, jumping, parkouring, and zombie killing. And human killing as well, I should mention that. In fact, I spent a lot more time kicking bandits and renegades off of buildings than I did decapitating the rotters wandering the city streets. Weapon mods are back, though for me at least, I kind of forgot about them for the most part. It was never forced upon me, and I never really felt underpowered by not having my bit of wood tarted up with electricity and flames. But it's nice to have, and if you delve deep into the game's RPG systems and work with what the developers have provided, you can really get your damage numbers up. For me, the leaping double kick was all I really needed. I've never felt so stupidly overpowered in a game. An upgrade to Aiden's abilities, parkour and combat, gives him the power to jump and double kick an enemy. The first time I did this, I laughed like an idiot, and then I ran around the streets, jump kicking all the monsters that I could see. Watching them go flying a ridiculous distance never got old, and it saved me in a few pinches, especially with rooftop encounters. Is it considered cheap to boot the baddies off the roof instead of taking the time to master the slow, brutal, dodge, block, attack, melee that the game offers? Maybe, but I had fun, and that's what matters most. Plus, I played on easy difficulty, so you'll mock me anyway. It's okay, I can take it. Meanies. Dying Light 2's world is fairly large without being too much. Now, if that seems like a vague statement, go and play Assassin's Creed Odyssey and you'll see what I mean. There's plenty to do, and if you want to level up and keep on top of the increasingly difficult villains and zombies, you'll do well to partake in a few of the parkour challenges to get some extra experience points, and don't let the side missions slide you by either. I know I said that they pull you away from the main story, but in fairness, many of them are decent little side stories in their own right, and they pay well, allowing you to give Aiden a decent leg up with his skill set. On the technical side, I played on Xbox Series X, so I had some choices with how I wanted the game to play. There are 3 different performance profiles, one of which offers 60 FPS at 1080p, so naturally, I stuck to that because, yeah, I'm a bit of a frame rate whore. Sorry. But if you do favour high resolutions for the crispiest image around, there's an option for that. And if you prefer your game to look glossy with all the trimmings, there's another option there too. I can't say that Dying Light 2 looked bad. I did give the other modes a quick play and they looked really good, but in the 60 FPS mode, it didn't stand out as, wow, this is next gen, which I suppose is fair. The game was built to run on PS4 and Xbox One, so yeah, their consoles getting on in their years. It looked good enough, is what I'm saying, but if you favour high refresh rates, know that you'll be sacrificing some of the prettier features to get there. It is a worthy sacrifice, in my opinion. Outside of a few difficulty spikes and some inconsistencies with the game's rules, for instance, some dark areas don't trigger Aiden's immunity countdown, others do. I'm really into Dying Light 2. There's far more to do once the story hits its crescendo, and by the time you get there, you will have seen the best and the worst of humanity, and depending on your choices, you will sit on one side or the other. And that is the end of this review. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you stuck around to the end, high five! If you did enjoy this video, please do us a massive favour, go on down below, like, comment, subscribe, do all those things that feed YouTube's greedy little algorithm. It helps us, and yeah, that's nice, right? I've been Chris, you've been gorgeous, and I will see you on the next one. Until then, cheers my dears.